Beatbox. I'm joined right now by, I mean, you think this is just coming from the ether. Where is this music emanating from? It's emanating right there. J.R. Beatbox.
What's going on, Mike?
I'm just gonna leave. I don't think we can do better than that. That's that. That was the best introduction I've ever been a part of. My entire
I think that
career.
was a great intro, especially you saying, you know what, just do you when I count in.
You know what?
That's all right.
That's what people want to see. They just want to see J.R. Beatbox do him. The One Drop Foundation. This Saturday, Springs Preserve, we're going to be talking about the Walk for Water 2024. A lot of great stuff going down, but I want to talk about you before all that because, listen, we got to talk water, climate crisis, all that kind of good stuff in our community. For me as an East Coaster, you're an East Coaster like me too.
Yes.
Whenever I got to say water, I grew up saying water. How do you say water or water?
Water. Fun fact,
Yeah.
since I started beatboxing, my voice changes all the time. So sometimes the native Bronx comes out of me, and then because I do so many high frequencies with my vocal cords, when I say certain words,
Yeah.
it allows me to sound different. So water. Is this all?
Because I don't hear the Bronx in your voice at all.
I think when the attitude comes out, and I really get mad. I'm a very peaceful person, so
So
Yeah,
what?
yeah, I'm calm,
I can
I'm
appreciate
calm.
that. I'll tell you a story about me when I'm getting old. I've been on TV for a little bit now. When I started my career, I was so green, dude. I was saying, I had a segment at my last station called the water cooler question of the day. And I used to say, it was in Texas. And I was like, they called me a Yankee every day because I would just say water instead of
yeah.
water, you know?
Yeah, my mother is straight in like she's like water. She's like water, and she says soda.
So that's my mom says that too.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Yeah,
Everything with an A has the R at the end. See, we have a lot in common and with the moms, and then after that it stops.
It does.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not much. There's not much after that. But one thing I would love to be able to do, because I want to know the story of how you found this gift. Because from what I've done research-wise, it seems like 16 is kind of when you started identifying a lot of your musical ability. Tell us the story of how you find this. Are you just in a Barnes and Noble one day and you figure out you can beatbox, or how do you discover that you have this skill?
Honestly, I grew up in a very Hispanic culture. My mother's Puerto Rican, my father's Dominican. When we moved out here from New York, my father was fighting for Golden Gloves in the boxing industry.
Wow.
So I grew up in a lot of Latin type music in my life. When I turned 15, I got introduced to hip hop. And since then, I fell in love with the music of hip hop.
It
and
took
the first
you 15 years to get
to come
introduced
across
to
of it.
hip hop?
You got to think about it. Like I grew up in a culture where we love weekend barbecues and pool parties,
Yeah.
and the Latin community is very has its own movement. You know, so my childhood had a really great family oriented like feeling, and then when I branched off into high school, I used, teenage years, you start meeting friends and you start getting into other small communities and you come across new things, right? So now you're stepping out the house, you're stepping into the world. When I stepped into the world, my freshman year of high school, I introduced myself to a gentleman in my class that was beatboxing. He then gave me my first 6 tracks on the CD, and I fell in love with beatboxing. That was my introduction to hip hop.
Wow.
And because of beatboxing, got introduced me to De La Soul, Wu-Tang,
Yeah,
and then just stuff like that. And it was it took my whole teenage.
So I saw a few of your big influences: Roselle, Kenny Mohammed, Scratch from the Roots, all that kind of stuff. So you start identifying with this whole beatboxing thing. You have a different kind of boxing in your blood from your dad.
Genetically, yes.
You got a different kind of boxing, but then you're like, no, I want to do the beatboxing stuff.
Yeah, those 3 names that you just said were the greatest influences in my teenage years. You know how we come across music and we gravitate towards artists. You're like, man, I want to be like musically. People love Jimi Hendrix and so forth. In the beatboxing world, those 3 were my favorites. So I picked up their techniques.
Right.
Me being a sponge, I self-taught myself. So Kenny Muhammad had the orchestra like
Gotcha.
Rozelle had the
Wow. Right.
Scratch from the Roots was all vocal scratching. So
Right. Yeah. Which I'm familiar with his stuff because I'm a big Roots guy, especially
Okay,
from
see?
Philly.
Yeah.
Questlove, all that kind
Questlove,
of
all
stuff.
those guys.
So, wow. So Captain Kirk, all my favorite guys. So all three of those are distinct kind of ways to enter into the beatbox world. Now, I don't know a lot about beatboxing. I know a lot about sports. So those are like three different disciplines, right? If you're a boxer and have three different disciplines, that's pretty rare for a boxer to kind of have three different disciplines. For a beatboxer, is it rare to be able to do all three of those and navigate between all three of those different types of beatboxing, or do you need to specialize?
Historically speaking, since I got into like the original hip hop culture,
Yeah.
there's new age beatboxers where they're all about drum and bass and techno and different techniques where they've manipulated sounds in many ways that I may not even be like keen to, but we all have our styles and our charisma and our characteristics. So through my art form, through those three influences, I was able to build what I represent.
Interesting. So
You find your own voice. You find your own, how do you present it?
You know what's so crazy as I'm just sitting here watching you do this so effortlessly? It's like if you said, Mike, I'll give you $1,000,000, beatbox something for me right now. I wouldn't even know how to even find it within myself. You know what I'm saying?
Boots and cats. Just say boots and cats.
Boots and cats.
And then say the name Eric and then take the C off the end. So you get Eric. And you just slap in a couple of words and numbers. Eric, one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I teach kids how to kind of like break from being uncomfortable and teach them some certain techniques. And after that, we dive deeper into techniques as in like vocals.
Speaking of diving deeper and digging deep, I think there's something very interesting. So, obviously we're gearing up for this Saturday, the One Drop Foundation. It's a great thing to have you there for the Walk for Water. I'm going to make sure I say water instead of water. But everybody is welcome, no matter how you pronounce water. It's interesting in terms of digging deep, diving deep. Music is one part of your life, and also fitness is another big part of your life. And it's hard. It would be hard to not think about the similarities of how free and vulnerable you have to be a beatboxer and to go through the process of learning how to do it, the judgment, being a professional beatboxer and being in front of people and maneuvering and manipulating your voice in that way. A lot of that, I could see how that could be a lot of angst-ridden stuff for a lot of people. So you growing up, I understand you dealt with a little bit of an obesity kind of situation. And
Not even a little, Mike. I was definitely obese. I grew up, again, in a very Latin culture, so we ate a lot and we hung out a lot, but we were not active. My father traveled the world. My mother kept me in the books. With that being said, when she was working multiple jobs to provide, he was providing too, but from a distance.
Right.
I raised myself majority of the time trying to compensate, and because we had access to like certain things at that time, I was you're not gonna tell no kid just to eat vegetables. No, I'm gonna go for the Hostess cupcakes and things that are accessible in the fridge that can take 30 seconds to a minute. That carried on through my teenage years, and I realized I wanted to change when I graduated high school, and I got into another stage in my life where at that moment I became a culinary cook.
Wow.
So I have a culinary background, and I worked as a culinary cook, and I was like, you know what? I have access to good food.
Right.
So let me start implementing what makes me feel better, and then doing research, and then also building a reputation in the city as an artist and being, I have an end goal. But in order to get to that end goal, I physically have to be ready for those opportunities.
And just mentally, there's the connection there of being free with yourself as a beatboxer and also needing to feel and look your best and be able to strip yourself of those chains.
Yeah, and feel vulnerable too. Like at that time, like I was very insecure. Like I didn't know. All I knew is like I got to be the best, and we have to look the part, and we have to. But I didn't have no guidance, so I kind of took a step back and I did more research. And I started finding values of myself where I'm like, you know what? Consistency is key. Keep it a long-term goal and then short-term goes in between, and over time you see the results. So I went from the heaviest of my life being 280 to
Really?
being 220.
Wow.
And then now I'm at the point now where I'm raising a beautiful 13-year-old daughter, and she gets the best food because I teach her the nutritional like facts of like this is what we're putting in our bodies.
And you got that culinary background
Yeah,
as
so
well.
so food is accessible. I'm like I could make you a meal in 15 minutes.
See, I love that. And
You
it
know.
really makes you the perfect guy for this Saturday. Tell us a little bit about why you're so excited about, this whole event, the Walk for Water, the One Drop Foundation, what you're going to be delivering to the people. Because, I mean, when we get that crux of, fitness, a little bit of entertainment, it's all the good stuff
Yes.
we want.
See, the foundation is a beautiful thing. They took the opportunity to believe in me in the early stages when it started. And I showed up and I showed out. I loved what it represented and how it provided multiple spaces in communities and cultures and countries to have that access of water. I'm a fine example of hydration and matter if we could go to our dispenser, water dispenser right now with a few steps. Most families have to commute to over 2 miles, up to 3 miles, just to have access for water within a day, and that's just for one day. So when we put the program together and they kind of broke things down to me, I really took in that information and I was like, I want to represent that.
I love that.
And they continuously reintroduced myself for the 2024 Walk for Water, and we're back and better than ever, So
I hear there's a
I'm
little bit of
excited.
a hiatus. It's back now. It's all about,
Yes,
raising
yes.
funds and awareness for water issues, both here locally, but also globally. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff going down this Saturday. Springs Preserve, 8 a.m. is the start on Saturday. And of course, we're going to have R Beatbox there working, doing his thing. It's so fascinating hearing your story and how it really is so intertwined and connected to everything that you're doing. If you had a little, because you're very inspirational kind of dude. If people at home are listening to this, they're watching right now, what are a couple of just things, take home, something they can implement in their life right away that they can enact that would just get them feeling a little bit more like R Beatbox?
I would tell everybody to open up their options and take in information. Information is truly key. So when you process things and you really think about it and how you can implement it in your life, it just takes a few little moments of actions to oversee, like to see everything overall come together. I'm again culinary background, so I learned how to multitask. You have to put the steak down, blanch the vegetables, and do all this. And at the end of the course, everything is plated perfectly. I just translated that into my career, my parenthood as a father, my friends, and make sure I invest in my friends and the community. So over time, it's just like you're a self product of just
Snowballs.
it just feels good.
Yeah.
And because of that, people gravitate towards that. And that's a beautiful thing about it being inspirational through your own actions. Live by it and then represent by it, and then you'll see everybody kind of like, hey, they'll start asking you questions. You give them the answers that they need.
I love all that
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
and it's great. I also was doing a lot of research, checking you out. You also did a Tiny Desk video, like a little submission kind of thing.
Yeah,
We gotta get
yeah.
you. We gotta get you on there. I love.
Man.
Who's your favorite Tiny Desk?
Usher. I don't know why.
Usher. It
Usher
was a
really,
good one,
that was
right?
a good one. And then we had, who else was on there? Erica Badu was
She was
good.
good. T-Pain was interesting, right?
yeah.
Because no auto tune.
No auto tune.
So he's got a real good in an acoustic light. He's pretty good too.
Yeah. See, one of my things in the career of music is there's all these great avenues and all these great ways to express yourself. And sometimes people are reaching for the stars and you're just right there. But I've always found out that like Las Vegas has been my home and my hub, and this is where I love putting my efforts in. The world is a beautiful place, but I prioritize my fatherhood. So besides traveling the world, I take care of my 13-year-old. And she comes first, and then after that, I'm one whole. So how that ties into everything is Tiny Desk is a goal. Yes, that's one of many goals I would love to be on.
Yeah.
When it presents itself, oh, I'll be ready for it. But for right now, it's being involved in the community. It's showing up, showing out, seeing how our home can be established, and we build from there. There's so many moving parts in this city, and it's growing rapidly, and I'd love to be a part of as much as I can.
There you go. Well, I can't say it any better. That's the way to get involved in our community, find out more about our great community here in Las Vegas, and go to this amazing event this Saturday, November 9th.
Yes.
It's going to be at Springs Preserve, 8 a.m. Go there. It's a great walk opportunity, learn a little bit.
I'm gonna walk.
You're
it
gonna
out.
walk.
I'm
You're
gonna do
gonna
the fitness.
beatbox.
We have cast members of Fantasy there.
Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil, Blue Man Group. For those families that are going to be there with their families and their young ones, we have face painting, entertainment, food. We have a lot of things to offer. So definitely get there early enough to enroll and experience everything we have to offer.
And this is like the perfect time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a Hallmark movie outside right now. That's why I even got this on.
You look nice. I like the jacket.
It's just like am I a professor or am I just really enjoying pumpkin spice lattes? You don't know. It's kind of, I'm in that in between.
I had a cardigan in the car.
No, you didn't.
I had a cardigan.
See, the problem is me in a cardigan. Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody
People want to see you and see because it goes.
I explore my.
You got the arm sleeves and you got a cardigan. That's the way to do it.
That's pretty much true. I also, I have this really cool opportunity tonight at the Cosmo, so I kind of brought an outfit on the go. But yeah, I like how different
Tell
outfits.
us what's going on at the Cosmo. We love the Cosmopolitan, of course. This is gonna go down before you all hear this at home. But tell us what you got going.
No, honestly, I work strictly through private companies where I'm able to really be creative and interact and integrate beatboxing with entertainment. So tonight is going to be a corporate event. This client is buying a band, and I'm the beatboxer of this band.
Ooh.
And I'm live percussion. I'm live scratching over the music and top 40 music that you all love. I do multiple different concepts like Bridgerton. It's a famous show. Everybody loves Bridgerton.
I know people love it.
And we have some hands raising in the audience right now.
So what do you mean? You could just do different genre. Like
yeah,
you're just gonna do.
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's do like a rapid fire. Okay,
all right.
Let's do a rapid fire. Here we go. Start with Bridgerton.
All right, so Bridgerton track will have a pianist do something. I will play that track. I have a live violinist that will play something over that.
Yeah, is it going to be Mariko? Is that your?
No, Mariko is my bestie.
Yeah, Mariko's
oh my God,
good, I know her.
Shout out to her. This is actually Tiana. She actually moved out here from Russia.
Oh. Okay.
And she's an amazing violinist, and she's able to collaborate with me. While she's doing that, I'm doing the and and then I'm also doing the percussion behind the Bridgerton pianist track while she's live playing the violin. So things like that are experiences, and I create those. I love creating experiences.
Wow.
So I bring that to the table for Saturday.
It's like environment. Oh.
Yeah. So I bring that to the table for Saturday is because not only will we be warming up, but I'm able to interact myself with the DJ and collab with the audience and do some cool things for the kids that they've never heard before, and then introduce them to a new realm of music through creativity. And it's all being fitness bound and just I love it.
I love it. All right, so can we do a quick rapid fire? Can I how would this work? Can I give you just spit out genres and then you can bounce back to different genres? Or what's the best way to do that? Is that a good way to do it?
Yeah, I'll start it right now. Okay.
Okay.
Pick one.
Go to jazz. Okay, go to more rock. Okay, soul, R&B soul. Wow, look at how you can do that. What is the exercise to get your diaphragm and just your cardiovascular?
My
cardiovascular workout.
I'm on a new thing now. I love.
Yeah, tell us how we can.
I love these wind bikes. I'm in love with wind bikes. The big giant wheel, and then you just go like this. It's resistant.
Yeah.
So you're basically riding a bike, and it's blowing wind.
Those are the things you see at the gym that nobody's ever
never uses. Yeah. Nobody ever uses in the gym.
During COVID, those were the safest ones to go on. If you wanted to make sure you're definitely not going to get COVID, let me go on that.
I go on all the machines people do not use.
but it works. Is that like a really, because I don't know. It must
Your
do
heart, yeah, because it's a full body workout. Think of it, if you look at NBA players or football players
Yeah.
on the sideline,
Oh, yeah,
you
they're
see them on the wind bike because they're staying loose and they're keeping their mobility, accessible of them doing burst workouts. So before I train, I just move and I open up all these different ligaments and joints and I warm up. And it also raises my heart rate. And I'm able to track my heart rate because we don't ever want it to peak. We wanted a nice sweet spot where we're getting sweat and we're burning fat, but we're not ripping away muscle and strength. So I've been really diving deeper into, hey, I'm 6'2", 220, and I train like an athlete, but I make noise for a living.
Hey, that's a great way to live right there. Real quickly, give everybody at home your social so we can connect with you, see how great you are in person.
Instagram is JR Beatbox. That's JAYR Beatbox. Everything across the board is pretty much there. If you just Google, I'm Googleable.
You are.
Yeah.
And you enunciated that tremendously. I think it's the wind. It's the wind.
It's the wind by kicking it, Mike. Man, I gotta say thank you once again for having me on the segment.
Of course, you're such a pleasure
yeah.
to have, man. A very interesting story. We got to have you back sometime. And
Anytime.
Listen, we're gonna have the powers that be here are going to work with you on a contract so you can just do all of our theme music.
Yeah, we got theme music, opening, closing,
captions. Stingers, my producer's right there. You'll talk to Jim.
Shout out to the producer.
He's the guy. He'll make it work for us. All right, guys. Listen, this Saturday, Springs Preserve, Water Drop, One Drop Foundation, Walk for Water. Make sure you go check out all that great stuff. JR Beatbox is going to be there. It's going to be a great family fun event. Starts at 8 a.m. We'll see you there on Saturday.